Hey guys, welcome back to another video in this basic networking course. Today we're going to build out a simple network, something super basic, not a whole bunch of commands, just so that we can visualize how we can connect some computers, switches, and routers together to talk between two different networks. So our only piece of information is, by default, routers know how to reach any directly connected networks, and there's no specific routing configuration that is required. Some new commands, we've actually seen a couple in the past. One is show IP interfaces brief. We know that displays the interfaces on the device and their IP addresses and status. Show interface followed by an interface and the interface number will display more descriptive information about a specific interface. And then show IP route, as we've already seen in the last video, will display the routing table in the router and show us which networks it knows how to reach. So with that, let's go ahead and hop down here into our lab. The goal of the lab is to successfully ping across the network, so from the left side to the right side. As for our tasks, task number 1 says connect all the devices in the network with proper cabling. Before we hop into this, I just want to mention you can download this lab at the link in the video description below and attempt this for yourself before we go over it here. I hope you do. The best way to learn is by doing. If not, stick around and let's knock this out. So connect all the devices with proper cabling. We're going to come down here and grab our connections. We're going to go ahead and grab some copper straight throughs to connect our computers on fast Ethernet to our switches. We can pop them into any port here on our switches. We're not going to be specific about it in this lab. Let's go ahead and do the same with the right network. From our computers, whoops, missed that, from our computers into our switch, just like that. Then let's go from our switches, go ahead and use the G01 on our switches to our router. We'll go ahead and do G01 on the left on the router, and on the right we'll go ahead and do G00. I like to just make a note of which interfaces I'm connected to so that it's easier to see what I'm configuring them. So I'll type G000 on that side, and now I've got G001 on this side. Okay, simple enough. That's task 1 down. Task 2, assign the router interfaces with the first usable IP address in each network and verify the results. Okay, so our left network is a 10.10.10.0/24. We know we can't use the network ID, which is that 10.10.10.0. So we'll have to use one above that, which would be 10.10.10.1. So let's go ahead and go into the router. Get into global configuration mode. Hop into that interface G001 and give it that IP address of 10.10.10.1. That subnet mask written out would be 255.255.255.0. Enter, and then make sure that we bring the interface up by running the no shut command. Perfect. Now let's hop over here. What's our other network? It says 20.20.20.0/29. Okay, /29 is the same as a 255.255.255.248. Gives us an increment of 8. We'll need to use that later when we're assigning more IP addresses, but right now that first usable would be 20.20.20.1. So let's hop into interface G000, give it an IP address of 20.20.20.1 with that subnet mask 255.255.255.248. Make sure we do no shut to bring it up, and then verify those interfaces. We'll go ahead and do a do show IP interface brief. We can see our G00 is 20.20.21 and our G01 is 10.10.10.1. Status is up, which is good. Alright, on to our next task. Assign the switches the second usable IP address in each network for remote management and verify the result. So that must mean for remote management we're going to be assigning these to a VLAN. So let's hop into switch 2. We'll just go ahead and get into global configuration mode. hop into VLAN 1. Go ahead and give that the second IP address, which would be 10.10.10.2. Same subnet mask. Enter. And we need to run a no shut command on this VLAN because it's administratively down by default. Looks good. Okay. Let's hop into our other switch. Go ahead and get into global configuration mode. Hop into VLAN 1. Give that an IP address of 20.20.20.2 with 255.255.255.248. Same subnet mask as the router because we're in the same network over here. No shut on that. That looks good. Okay. Verify the result. I guess that means we should have run a show IP interface brief. Go ahead and hit space to jump to the bottom. We can see our VLAN now has an IP address assigned to it. Over here in the first switch that we configured, show IP interface brief. Jump to the bottom. That also has an IP address assigned to it. It's up. It's good. Okay. Next up, assign the computers the last 2 usable IPs in their respective networks. Okay, so in our first network, /24, we know that the very last IP is not usable because it's the broadcast. The last IP would be .255 in this instance. So the 2 last usable IPs are going to be .254 and .253. Let's go ahead and assign those to these PCs. Hop into the desktop IP configuration. Go ahead and go 10, 10, 10, 254 with 255, 255, 255, 0. We need to give them a default gateway of the router interface closest to them, which will be 10.10.10.1. That looks good. Go ahead and hop into the other computer on this side. Give it that other usable IP address, 10.10.10.253, 255.255.255.0. Default gateway of that router interface IP closest to us. That looks good. Hop over to these computers on the right now, into the desktop IP configuration. Now over here with the /29, that gives us an increment of 8. That means that the last or the next network would be 20.20.20.8, which means the last IP in our network is 20.20.20.7. That's reserved for the broadcast. So the last 2 usable IPs are going to be .6 and .5. Let's go ahead and give this one the .6, 255.255.255.248. Give it the default gateway of 20.20.20.1 because that's the router interface that connects to us, that helps us get out of our network. Hop into the other computer, desktop, IP configuration, 20.20.20.5, 255.255.255.248, 20.20.20.1 for default gateway. That looks good. Alright, so we've assigned IP addresses to everything. Now what we're trying to do is we're going to verify that the router can see both the networks in the diagram. So it can see this 10.10.0 network and this 20.20.0 network. So we hop into the router, back to privileged exec mode, we can do show IP route. This will tell us C means directly connected. We've got 10.10.10.0/24 going out of our G001 interface. So this side, that's correct. And then we've got 20.20.20.0 out of our G000 interface, which is this side. And that looks correct. So that's good. Next task, ping from one computer to another within the same network and ensure connectivity. Okay, so let's go ahead, review what we gave this one 254, so the other one will be 253. Let's go ahead and ping that. Ping 10.10.10.253. And we can indeed talk to it. Let's go over here to this side. We gave this one .6, so the other one will be .5. Hop into command prompt and run ping 20.20.20.5. We can talk to that guy, so that looks good so far. Next task, ping from one computer to the switch, make sure that we have connectivity. So if we grab this computer right here, we would be pinging 20.20.20.2. That's the IP we gave to that VLAN on the switch. And there we go, we've got a reply from it. So we can connect there. Hop over to this side. Go ahead and ping 10.10.10.2. That's this switch's IP address on the VLAN. Because of Packet Tracer, this first one might time out, but the rest of them are going through. That means we have connectivity, which is good. Alright, now the final big test to see if we've set up this basic network correctly is ping from one computer on the left to one computer on the right to make sure we have connectivity. So over here, let's hop into this command prompt. Let's ping across to PC6, which would be ping 20.20.20.6. And let's see if we have connectivity across the networks through the router. And we do. We can connect and see it. That's perfect. So it looks like we've configured this lab correctly. I hope that you were able to follow along, and I hope that you were able to complete it without watching the video. I hope overall that this course is helping you understand the basics of networking better, and we'll see you in the next video.